talking 700 years later.
When
He's talking about the Davidic family and kingship. That's where he was born.
But King David did come after this, when this was written.
No, we came before that.
Before it.
Yeah, God knows that, you know, this is poetic.
I'm just trying to figure out, so the Jews are still waiting, the fundamentalists are still waiting for a Messiah, right?
I don't know, no idea what Jews are doing. I can't answer that question.
Okay,
I don't have any idea. All I know is what Christians say. Because Jews don't say anything because they have no idea about any of these things. They're all disagreeing with each other about everything, and nobody pays any consistent attention to them.
okay, are the Jews, the general...
There aren't any Jews that have a consistent view, so it's no point saying, do the Jews.
Okay, some Jews.
Do you think that, Mr. Libby is Jewish? Rabbi so-and-so here from Long Beach in black Hasidic clothes is also Jewish. Do you think Mr. Libby in Cheney's cabinet has any idea in common with the Hasidim at all whatsoever? So when you're talking about Jews, you're dealing with a group of totally disparate people. All they have is an ethnic identity, the way a Spanish person would, or a Arab person would, or something like that. But I don't think they have a clear view about this issue that you're bringing. Go ahead, answer the question. I just want to get away from simplistic things.
Do some people...
Yeah, some Jews, a few pious Jews.
Some people are waiting for the Messiah of Jewish descent.
I never met any, but there are some.
Okay,
yeah.
some real,
I never met any who were waiting.
Fundamentalist Jews waiting. Would they be waiting? Would they be thinking they're waiting for a Messiah to come out of Bethlehem?
I have no idea. I really don't. I'm not being ornery with you. I just have no idea. I don't think they know themselves. They haven't put it together the way Christians have. They're just looking for a redeemer, but they didn't, go and stitch things out of the text like this, like you have in Matthew's doing it in the New Testament. And I don't think that's clear to someone who's only familiar with the Christian way of approaching it. They just don't have a clear, they didn't try to make a story out of what the Messiah was supposed to be. All they know is they're hoping that someone will come along and make things right, but I don't think anyone even imagines that it would be a Davidic descendant, because nobody that I've ever met even knows who the Davidic descendants are. Only the priests make any claims to be genealogically aware of themselves. People, and even you'll meet them, and half of them won't even realize they're priests. If you meet someone called, I bet you Libby actually is a Levite. I bet the name Libby came from Levi and just got changed a little bit over the immigration patterns. If you had told him, Mr. Libby, are you a priest? He would like, what? He would be totally staggered. And the Cohens are the high priests. They are pretty much aware that they're supposed to be of some lineage, but other than that, nobody I know knows of anything about any tribes. Jews are obviously the tribe of Judah, supposedly, but don't even know that. And none of them have any idea what they expect the Messiah to be, except that he's supposed to make things turn out better. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't want to mislead you or make it oversimplified, because when you hear these things, the Jews are expecting a Messiah still to come, and the Christians are one that's already come, and so on. Well, I mean, that's very simplistic in terms of what that's supposed to be what they think. But do they actually think that, the average Jew? I haven't met many who think anything on this particular issue. Anyway, you'll meet some Jews and you'll decide for yourself if I'm correct there. But they might say this because they've been told that that's what they're supposed to say. But now when you ask a question, do they think he's going to come from Bethlehem? Do they think he's going to be a descendant of David? Oh yeah, they'll say he's a descendant of David, but they won't understand how that could possibly be because they don't know any descendants of David. Anyway, this is a messianic passage here. We all agree on that, in the sense that's how it's been taken. His origin goes back to the distant past. I can't go any further. You can make of this what you want. The next sentence is about delivering us from Assyria. So I don't think the prophet is really envisioning anything more than his own time here. I don't think he knows anything about Greeks, Romans, Russians, Chinese, you know. I don't think he has any conception of any of that. But I know that's how it's been taken. The reason we're reading is that you have to decide for yourself how you want to see it. But you, Ephratah, least of the clans of Judah. We didn't even know that until we read this. Out of you will be born for me the one who is to rule over Israel. His origin goes back to the ancient past. Is that how yours reads? Okay. Any case, let's look at 6. In the end of 5, we have more demolishing of things, pagan things. 6. Now we get a little bit about what we read in Amos and Hosea. Yahweh, the Lord, is accusing his people. Listen, you mountains, to Yahweh's accusation, line 2. So here, I think the Jews were it worked out badly for them that they put these kind of admonitions to try to make them behave better. That prophets were sort of telling the people, look, we want you to behave higher, we want you not to be crude, vulgar, you know, we don't want you to behave like the nations around you. I try to tell my children that in terms of, you know, don't go into the bars, don't go into the porn shops, don't go into the, you know, don't be a stoner, you know, whatever. I try to do that. But the prophets put it in these terms, you know, to try to get the people to behave, to frighten them, to make them more high-minded. And then that was used against them by their enemies later on. Oh, you see, Yahweh's accusing his own people. The Jews did what displeased Yahweh. Well, they could apply it to any people. They could apply it to the Chinese and say, the Chinese are doing what displeases Yahweh. It's just that they were talking to their own people, so they said it to their own people. You could say it to the American Indians, to the Eskimos. The Eskimos and the American Indians weren't stupid enough to write such things down that other people could see it. That's the problem with what the Jews did to themselves. And of course, they helped a lot of mankind, giving them some religious inspiration, but it redounded against them in a horrifying way. Just read the Quran, which we're doing in another class, or read the New Testament. Read Paul. All these passages of this kind are used against them. Every single one. He goes and looks for them. And there's plenty in here. But I don't think it's like you say in your family, you know, or things like this to frighten your children. Anyway, he's telling their history. Look, I brought you out of Egypt, so he knows the Exodus again. I rescued you from slavery. I sent Moses, Aaron, Miriam. He knows the whole Exodus story as we have it now. And then Balaam, which seems to be fractured here, my